Hello and welcome to I Choose Me page. I have Nefertiti Powell here, celebrity stylist, and my little sister, Nefertiti Powell. I'm so excited to have her here to interview her about all her major accomplishments, manifesting dreams and dreams coming into reality. Um, I just want to share her story. I didn't talk a lot about my sister in my book, but you do know that I have a sister for those who know me personally. And I believe that my story is a story of everyone that is in I Choose Me, who are choosing to live their best life. So can you tell the audience what it is that you do, Nefertiti?
So I'm Nefertiti Powell, and I'm a celebrity hairstylist. I'm a salon owner. I have my own hair care line. Um, I'm just like a super stylist. That's what I call myself because I'm so well rounded in every texture of hair. I'm a hairstylist and a barber, and I service all people, all textures, all lengths. So I'm super diverse, and I've been doing hair for like 20 years now. And I'm so passionate about the hair industry that I love doing hair like every day. It's insane how crazy I am and obsessed with hair. So
When do you think
that's
it first started for you? Like, us being kids, when do you think you first started to know that this was something that you wanted to?
um well, I remember when I was in the third grade and I did my own hair, and it was really cute, and mom wouldn't let me keep it that way. Um because I hated the way she styled my hair. So I would always try to like fix up what she did.
Mhm.
And then mom's best friend, Miss Pat, who I love dearly, my godmom, we would go to her salon, and I was so fascinated by like all of the tools, everything that was in the salon, and by me being so curious. And I remember asking mommy, like, is this her job? Is this her job, mom? And she's like, yeah, she's a beautician. And I was like, oh, okay. And I probably was like 10 at that point. And I remember just like being up under Miss Pat, wanting to know about every product she had. Um, I mean, all of the products, the rollers. I was so intrigued by everything that was in the beauty salon that I just asked them, "Can I help? Anything that I can do to help?" And they were like, "Yeah, do this. Wash this comb. Wash these rollers." And then my love for hair products. That's where my love for hair products really grew, because I'm like, "Oh, well, what does this product do? What does this one do?" So,
So it was
Miss
like really early that you started to have this interest in wanting to be a hairstylist. I remember
Right.
you talking about when we were younger about how at some point though you kind of like try to do something else. You thought of, you had maybe thought maybe you should not do it or you should try something else. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I remember I wanted to go to
You're muted. Yeah, unmute yourself. You muted.
just kind of swept it under the rug. And I was just like, well, everybody does hair, so no big deal. So I just kind of like was trying to forget about it, but I still would like do my hair, and I still would like shampoo assistant on the side.
Mhm.
And I started doing my best friend's hair. And by me doing their hair, everybody's like, oh my God, their hair looks so cute. But then I was like, oh, really? Like, yeah, but I only know how to do their hair good. Like, I wasn't confident in myself that I would be able to do everybody's hair good. I was like, oh, well, that's just because it's Tiffany, my bestie, so I get to play in her hair all the time. So I know in your hair and mommy's hair.
Mhm.
So after,
Curling somebody's hair like lawn. Like I remember at grandma's house, one of your girlfriends coming over there, and I don't know if
oh,
you started
Makita, I
with
remember
you
that.
had
Yes, I
doing
remember
something like
that.
that. It was blonde.
I could never get away from doing hair. So I always would try to push it aside, but it was just something that constantly followed me. People would ask me to do their hair because I was always fixing up my hair. I could style my hair any way I would like. And then I was growing my hair out and doing all kinds of things. So people would see that and be like, can you help me? Can you do my hair? And I'm like, all right, I'll just do yours. And then it just kind of grew from there. But yeah, high school, my ninth grade year, I went into like the co-op program, and they kind of molded me to be in the workforce. So my dreams and goals of being a hairstylist kind of just was like, yeah, maybe everybody's one. I'll get there, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, I was still shampoo on the side in high school and just do my friend's hair. But it wasn't until after I had went for my first year of college down there with you, and I still was doing people hair. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I cannot escape people asking me to do hair. Do I just look like a hairdresser? Why keep people keep asking me to do their hair? So
Can't escape your dreams. I
yeah,
think a lot of it came doing the hair too. It came out of resourcefulness, like we having to use your resources. Like I just remember putting remember putting the hair in the microwave and putting the rod rollers on it. People would dye hair with Kool-Aid. I mean, I don't know if people like, unless you
I
grew
love
up
that.
in the city or you grew up and you were young, and maybe, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think this is a nationwide thing. Like you go in New York, Detroit, I think you're gonna find it pretty much the same thing. You're gonna see these little Black girls doing these things because some of these we didn't have access to it. So we had to kind of take over and learn how to do our own hair.
Yes.
You know?
Like, mama can't do my hair right. I got to figure it out. And that's how I became cool with the older girls in the neighborhood who did hair. I would be their models all day. Finger wave me, curl me, because my mother did my hair so ugly that I was just like, please, can somebody do my hair? So I remember at my fifth grade graduation, we had to read, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I remember saying, I'm going to be a hairstylist. And it's just like, wow, like from 10 years old or however old you are in the fifth grade, that I
10
knew
or 11.
that I was going to be a hairstylist.
Mhm.
And here I am
And you,
today,
that's
all these years later. I'm definitely living in my dreams, doing all of the things that I said that I wanted to do. Um, it's just been an exciting ride. I feel like in my craft, I definitely have, mastered every area. Um, I'm always room to grow. I'm so open to growing, learning new things, new techniques, just to always better myself and just stay ahead of the game.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been exciting. I feel like I've done every part of being a cosmetologist.
You have, like, your resume, I've worked on it and looked at it. It's like extensive, long list, long line. How do you feel like God manifested and lined things up for you in order for you to be where you are today? Think back on your journey and your path, and do you feel like there were some foreshadowings going on or some parts that were meant to happen in order for you to get here where you are today? Working on the movies, etc.
Wow. Well, I definitely feel like at a young age, like I have been calling on God, like since I was a young child. And so that's how I knew like the love of God, the magic of God was just like always there.
Mhm.
And throughout my whole experience, things that I was like, oh, if I would have did it differently, or I feel like God kept me in the midst of all of my craziness. You know what I mean? All of the things that when I rebelled, when I didn't follow in his will, and I just sidetracked my whole life. You know what I mean? But the fact that he loved me enough that he just knew that those desires were still there, burning inside of me passionately. And I was just like, oh God, like, what are you gonna do? What do you want me to do? Like I wanted to give all of my time being the best mom that I could be in every area. I'm like, God bless me with these children. I'm gonna provide. I'm gonna take care of them.
Yeah.
If that means the stuff that I really want, places I really would like to be. I got to put it on the side for now. But I just knew that if I stuck to like my goals and just continue to work in that field, doing the best of my ability in every area, being a taskmaster, getting the job done, having good execution, like getting it done. I felt like in time, like it was just gonna end up happening at some point. Cause like I read all these quotes and I follow people that's very successful, and I'm like, read about like, oh, what did they do? Like, then they be like, oh no, just stay focused, continue on it, don't give up, don't give up. And I'm like, what?
Like
Don't
Oprah
give
used to say, find somebody who you want to shadow after and make them the blueprint for your life. So it's kind of like you were following people and seeing what they were doing. I know you had some good mentors as well.
Oh yes, I had some great mentors. I work with like all the successful hairstylists in Baltimore that's like doing it. Like I admire them, from Lisa Parker to Tangia to Safi. I mean, it's so many great stylists in Baltimore, and I had the privilege to work under them, and I was humbled so I could learn, so I can learn from the best, so I could be the best. And that was like my motto. Like, okay, anything that I needed to learn, I would go work at that place. Okay, I need to learn how to cut men's hair good. I'm gonna go work at Great Clips. I'm gonna go work at hair cutting. I need to learn how to do white people hair good. So I'm gonna go work at their day spas, and I need to know everything. So I would try all kinds of jobs.
I think
All
that's a
kinds of
big,
jobs.
a
Every
funny
job in the
thing too.
hair industry, I have done it.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing too, because I've noticed that when I went in hair salons too, not everyone is very skilled in multitasking and knowing all types of different hairstyles to do for all ethnic backgrounds. You know, I've been in salons and been turned away and told by Caucasian people that they can't cut my hair. They don't know how to cut it. And I'm like, okay, good, fine. You know, but some other people would be offended by that, to know
It's sad, and you
can't
should
get
be.
it.
It's sad because hair is hair. Like you just have different textures. They teach us in hair school just about textures. If you are a great stylist, any race, you can do anybody's hair.
Mm-hmm.
So that separates, the real stylist
They
from
know.
just people that, okay, I only know how to do this one area good. I only know how to do this good. Like, no, you have to be a master at every texture of hair and be able to create a look on like anybody. I've
Right.
been thrown into some crazy situations where I had to fix some things, and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay. But when I start seeing my true ability, that how blessed and gifted I was, when I would, oh my gosh, when I would do dead bodies and bring them back to life just to see how they look one way, and then just to see the beauty just transform in front of me, that was just like, oh wow, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And just like people who had bald spots and I mean all types of scalp disorders and scalp diseases. I mean, like I was getting hit with some stuff. I'm like, oh my
I
goodness,
think
I have to
it's
figure
like
this
you're
out.
a cosmetologist. This is almost like you're treating people like you, because I know sometimes even as a hairstylist, you become a therapist to people and you're treating some type of, health conditions and so forth that people
Definitely.
have with their
Yes. I took ethnic hair loss classes just so I can recognize different scalp disorders, different things that I can do. That's why I ended up developing my hair care line, multi tresses hair care systems, because everybody needs the same thing.
Mhm.
Everybody needs to cleanse their hair. Everybody have different disorders. If it's dryness, if it's scales, if it's flakes, if it's buildup, everybody needs to remove all the oil and build up and debris from their head. Like that's just simple. So I'm so looking forward to my product going mainstream.
And
Everybody
you
knows
have a product line that's out too, multi tresses product. The thing that's really amazing and amazing about you and everything that you do is just the fact that you have worked so hard as a single mother as well. In my book, I Choose Me, I talk about being a single mother and following my dream and what I wanted to do. Because, to protect other people's names and so forth, I had changed a lot of things. Instead of talking about my doctorate degree, I talked about being a nurse anesthetist because I was going to go to pharmacy school. So I wanted to use something medically related. But the fact is that in order to achieve a goal, I was going through a lot of stuff at the time to try to achieve it. And being a single mother, period, with your kids and still trying to make it is very difficult. What would you say to those single mothers out there who have a goal and maybe they think, oh, I can't do it because, I have these kids and it's impossible. What would you say to those mothers who are trying to work on that dream they always had?
Yes, those mothers, I would say, I mean, taking care of your kids is like number one, right? So you gotta put that first, and you gotta take care of your kids at the best of your ability. Like whatever that is, you gotta do it and do it well. I feel like God honors you when you take care of them children. Like you put your priorities first, like, okay, I'm doing this for my kids, I'm gonna make sure I have a roof over our head, I'm gonna provide these things for them. I feel like if you focus on your children, it fills your days up. Like it really does, especially when you got multiples. It's like, no, I don't have time for anything else because my children come first. So I feel like, I mean, it's hard. We have these dreams and you want to chase them and go after them, but you just have to plan them. Just plan them in your week, in your schedule. Like, okay, even when I was pregnant and I would had other jobs coming up and I would work in the hair salon and then I would get booked a wedding. And I mean, I still needed a babysitter and I still wanted to go do the hair for the wedding. And you just have to plan strategically. Like if I ain't learned anything else out of being a mother is planning and sticking to that schedule because it helps your whole day, your whole life to go by. And I'm able to get a lot more things done by having that structure. Like with them kids being set on their schedule, man, you can get so much done once they go to bed.
Yeah.
And once you're able to like pre-plan
I talked about that
everything.
too in the book, and I just was talking about how I was able to get and complete those things with children in hand. A lot of people don't believe that they can do it anymore. You had a dream, and you were already kind of where you are now in the beginning with your first child, getting ready. You was already getting so close with being able to be on the movie sets because I know you. So I know you always that was your dream. You wanted to work on the movies. You wanted to work on a TV series, doing celebrity, and then we had our beautiful Tatiana come in the picture, and it took a little bit longer to get back to that part. How was that? How did you feel? Like, did you feel like, am I ever going to get to this place? Like, what am I
Oh
doing?
my gosh, it was painful at sometimes because I would literally be watching TV and it would be people that started out with me, people that were like new actresses that were just doing commercials and stuff, people that I met out in California back in 2001. You know what I mean? And then just to see them on the TV and see their growth and I just would be like, wow, like, oh, I touched that person. Oh, wow, I did that person.
Yeah.
Just now, like even now to see, I watch TV, I see people that I've touched and had conversations with. I mean, it definitely blows me away. But I know then I used to be like, oh, it used to make me sick. And I
Yeah.
used to be like, oh gosh, like why? Like, what did I do to myself? What did I do? You know what I mean? Um,
But you
but
remain faithful. I always, Nefertiti, I always remain, even from a young age and going to church. It's like you always had a spiritual connection and you remain faithful. And then look at what it is, what's happening now.
yes, even though things wasn't perfect, like how I would have imagined my life to go, I still felt like all of my needs were met, through it all. You know what I mean? Like God always provided for me. We didn't go without. I mean, I had moments where, I mean, I ain't had my rent money and my car broke down. And hey, you even bought me a car, thank God. So I have like my support system, my family, my circle is like been amazing with you all just keeping me being able to go, being able to have these children and still not miss a beat, to still be able to
That's
be
why it's so beautiful.
self-employed. I've been self-employed for like 20 years.
That's a major accomplishment. I was employed for 1 year and I
It's
couldn't
like,
care. I
I
couldn't be in that
I
race.
used to
So
be like,
I can't imagine
I'll be
how
like,
that
how am I gonna pay my rent and take care of multiple kids? I mean, I couldn't believe it when I was having popping them babies out back to back. I was like, Lord have mercy, Lord, what am I gonna do? But everything was taken care of. Everything was being met.
everything you take, God took care
I
of you.
Yeah, like so even though it wasn't the idealistic relationship I wanted, and it wasn't perfect, but
Mm.
everything still was being met. All of my needs are always being met. So I'm so thankful for God for that, because I'm truly blessed to have a roof over my head. When I go places, I'm just covered. So I've just been so thankful to have a close relationship with God.
What would you have thought if somebody would have told you maybe, okay, let's say about a year, 2 years ago, that 2021, that you was going to be buying a new house, you was going to have just finished a major motion picture movie, you was going to be starting on a series, meeting people that you working as one of the head stylists on a television show on BT, and they told you this. What would you have believed them? What would you have said if somebody told you this is going to be your future in a year? What would you have said to them?
Okay. I believe it was told to me anyway. Um, I mean, I've been waiting for this opportunity all my life. Like, I've been speaking this into fruition. Like, oh, I'm a celeb. I've been calling myself a celebrity hairstylist since I started hair school, right? So I felt like in time, like it was gonna happen some kind of way. It was just like, because I felt like I never gave up. Kept on reaching out to folks, continued to network. And I just believe, like, even with during the pandemic where everything was at the height and it was just so sad and miserable, I would have never thought all of this would have jumped off of me in the midst of COVID. And
Yeah.
I mean, I was so depressed, crying and praying for people, wanting to be useful and trying not to worry about money. And then
That was
I got blessed with
time
more
for
money.
self-employed people too.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was like, what am I gonna do? My whole business shut down. I don't have my salon anymore. I can't do people's hair. It was a lot. But I feel like I always knew deep down inside what I wanted. And I knew that it was within my reach. I just knew that it had to be lined up at the right time. I have to be in the right place,
Mhm.
So
You hear that? So that's very important for people who are starting out. One thing I know too, a lot of my book, and I know you haven't read all of it. I just read you maybe one chapter, a few bits of it. But I talk a lot about daddy in our book. And I talk about our experiences with him, and I talk about, him passing and how he left life insurance money for us, for us when he passed, and what we all did something with it. I know, I sit up there and I talk about the daycare that I started in there, and you took money too. Tell us about you opening up your salon. Talk about how influential. Let's hear about how influential Daddy was in the beginning process of that salon that you had, how that affected you, because I know that you had to close the salon, how you felt after that, and so forth, with it being, with getting the money the way it happened. And also share with them how Daddy, because I remember sitting down there and trying to get that business proposal for you when he was alive, and wanted that salon for you. So,
right, like it was all a part of the plan anyway. Because years ago, when I was in the 6th grade, I remember Danny wrote me a letter and he told me that I should be a hairstylist.
oh,
And I remember that summer we went down to visit him and he bought me a mannequin head. and he bought me some hair products. And every day, I think I did about 2 to 3 hairstylists on that mannequin head. So he definitely played a major role in me becoming a hairstylist. And even before he passed away, he had talked about investing in me. And we had started selling hair. He had started getting some hair from one of the vendors in Maryland, and he was selling hair in South Carolina. And then he told me to go find a salon. I went and found the salon, and I think it was like, I don't know, maybe $1,500 or something a month. And in 3 years, it would have been like almost $2,000 a month. And he told me, I took him to see it. He was like, no, it costs too much. You don't need it. It costs too much. You need something that you'll be able to afford. And I'm like, whatever, daddy. Like, I knew he wasn't gonna help me anyway. Like, he get on my nerves. Don't even worry about it, daddy. I'm gonna get my salon anyway, right?
He was
So
getting
I kind of just was like, whatever, goodbye, daddy, right?
uh-huh.
So then time goes by. This was within that same year that he died. Um, oh my gosh. So after he died, that was so freaking devastating. That was like so unexpected, so
Very
gut wrenching, so painful, right? So to get the news that we were getting life insurance money was like,
it was
I
kind
mean, we kind of knew because our dad is
of like
like,
a new start.
he always sold life insurance. So it was like we knew, but you don't really think
Didn't think
so.
that he was
No,
gonna
you
pass.
don't. Yeah, no, you weren't even thinking about it.
He wasn't even thinking about it. And I feel
No,
like
we
it
wasn't.
set it kind of was a
No.
life changer in a way for us too. And
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Growing up in
yeah.
Baltimore, you already when you grew up, even though we had two educated parents, growing up in this climate or this area where a lot of people, you don't see a lot of successful people, a lot of just looking in your environment, you don't even realize what type of living condition you living in because you don't have nothing to compare it to. But then you go and you don't start out with investors. A lot of people, they grow up in families, African American community is very different from the Caucasian community. So they already growing up in a house. They can get money from the house when it's sold. The parents are already believing in life insurance policy, etc. So, getting that was like a new start. You know what I
It
mean? It
definitely
was like
was.
a life changer.
It
You
definitely was. It definitely took my whole life to the next level. You know what I mean? Like I mean, it was definitely like bittersweet because it was almost like winning the lottery, but it was like a painful lottery or something because it was like good, but it was like hurtful. Like it was like a band-aid over this wound that's just oozing. Like,
yeah.
so I knew that I always had wanted a salon and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I had been looking anyway. So once I found my location and we went and checked it out, it was affordable at the time. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can afford this. And I kind of like got approved for it right away. And then it was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. I went to Georgia and went to the hair show. I went and bought all these products and things. So I started really getting excited about it. And then, I mean, everything that he had told me, like, he was like, it's time to be serious. You got to be a businesswoman now. Different things that he told me, just getting my LLC and registering my name and getting my salon license and things. It was emotional, but I really felt like he was right there with me and really proud that I was moving forward, and getting a salon. So I definitely, put all of my blood, sweat, and tears into having the business because you go in thinking one way, like, oh, I'm going to be able to hire everybody and just be
It's
able to
not
just
what
have
you
all
imagine it to
staff
be.
and things. And then it was a lot more than I imagined. I've always kind of just had been a booth rental, just rent my space, but to have a whole building. I mean, I became the receptionist, the shampoo person, the janitor, the maintenance man. Like it was like, wow, every area in this building I had to take care of. It was a huge responsibility and a big learning experience for me. It was like, wow.
It was hard.
Like, this was a
I
lot.
did the same thing.
It was a lot,
Yeah.
but I always would be like, dang, like, because I always wanted to have my own salon, so that was like definitely like a dream come true. So I'm so glad that I was able to have that experience. And definitely I learned so much about being a boss, a manager, supervisor, running a business, a lot goes into it. So I'm glad I did it. It was like 4.5 years, that
Mhm,
I was able to head the salon.
mhm,
Like I don't feel no regrets about it because it was so fun and exciting.
mhm.
My mural, I definitely miss it. Yeah, but if the obligation, man, the obligation and all of your
Oh, I
money goes
know
into
because
it.
I know I was
So
out there
it
trying to
was like
the daycare was a
no extra. Every week paying bills constantly. I knew I made money, but I never really got to see it
mhm,
because it was constantly paying bills.
mhm,
So it was a relief. At first it was like, oh, having anxiety separation, but then it was like, wow, the I was able to do so much more. Like if I was still having the business, I wouldn't be able to travel. So I feel like everything worked out perfectly in God's
think
perfect
at that
timing,
time
you know?
you might not have been able to see it. I had when I had my daycare too, it was like very hard because I too was going in it with thinking this is what daddy would want me to do. The whole time when I had that dream and I was like, oh, I'm gonna so open this daycare because daddy was so influential in my life with education and I some of the things you just told me, I didn't even know about those things, but he was influential in just preparing me the way he taught me. And that's why I wanted to open it up to teach other little girls, about being, motivated because he never saw me as a girl. He saw me as a person that was going to grow up, and be successful. And he didn't make any limitations on me because I was a girl and not a son, so I always appreciated that. But I know that for me as well, when I got, and I talk about it in my book very vividly about finding out about him dying and the way that I found out about it and what I was doing and how I felt. And I know that when it happened, it was just it was off blue because I had already been planning to leave, my ex-husband. He was very supportive with telling me, explaining to me what to do, and like, just being a sense of comfort. So when it happened, it just threw me for a loop and it made me kind of second guess what I wanted to do because I didn't know, and I'm sure you felt the same way with trying to get the salon together, with what does daddy want me to do? I gotta do this because daddy wants me to do this salon, and that's what we were talking about before. So when
Yeah.
you had to close it, I know that you might have felt like, okay, am I letting daddy down? How would daddy feel about me having to close it? Because when I closed my daycare, I literally just cried. Like I felt like that was my child and I was like mourning that. And I just,
Mm.
and it took a while to get over that.
I don't think I didn't cry because towards the end it became so draining, right? Because the building literally was falling apart and I couldn't get the owners to like fix it up for me. And it was like, now, you know how when you start to outgrow something, you
Yeah.
don't like it anymore. So it got to me where it was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. And then I don't want to keep complaining and I will patch it up, fix it up, try to cover it up to make it okay. But then when they kind of hit me with this ultimatum, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can you rent out both sides? But we can't fix anything
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to go up on your rent. It just kind of made sense to just close.
Yeah.
And since the interior wasn't so great, and I felt like, okay, this place needs a whole new facelift, and that's going to cost me some major money. And so it was like, I felt like it was time. I felt like I did good. Like, I don't have no regrets about it because it was so fun. I think when I got my windows and my signage done,
Mhm.
that probably was when I was having that emotion, anxiety, separation towards when I was getting ready to close the doors. Like, because I was like, oh my God, I just spent all this money to get these windows done. It's only been up for 1 year. I have been there 4 years. And then I get the window up in the third year. And now in the fourth year, I'm moving out. So I was like, kind of in my feelings about it. So we were able to peel the decals off the window. So for some weird reason that made me feel better at the moment. Like, well, at least I got my pictures that
Mhm.
I could maybe put up later, possibly somewhere. You know what I mean?
That you were able to utilize it. It wasn't in vain, because when I think about it and I reflect on what you did, that time, like the going to barber school, sitting up here, all the different things you learn, and even just that experience in running and supervising a shop and trying to hire and how it is, that all taught you a valuable lesson for what's to come. Because now it's like, it's like the possibilities are limitless. Like I said, I asked you earlier, what would you have said or how would you have felt if somebody would have told you that you're going to be working on these major motion pictures a year or 2 years ago, or right after you close your salon? Because I still remember, it still was a hard process. And then you're doing this. So who knows? You might have your product line. We don't know how that might take off, whatever. Hopefully we'll see that everywhere. And then you have this experience that you have with being able to run a salon, because maybe you might do a hair school, maybe you might do this. It can lead to everything. And that training that it took for that within that 20 years prepared you for where you are right now, don't you think?
Definitely. Yeah, because when right now, each time I work on something, I always end up being getting in a leadership position. I always end up being in charge. I always end up being coming up with
Mhm.
the look or finishing the look or executing the look. And I'm like,
Mhm.
sometimes I try to like, okay, no, I'm not here to take over nothing. I'm just here help out and be me and do what I'm told. But they see that I do great work and they end up just having me. I just end up moving up right along.
Right along.
I always surprise myself at how fast I move along when I go places and get raises and I'm like, oh, she
What
does
would you
really
say?
well and being in charge and execution and being diligent. You know what I mean? Like I've been a leader for a long time and I've been thrown in a lot of positions where I had to go in there and execute and like go in, create the look,
Mhm.
start it, shut it down.
Mhm.
So I'm just so happy to have this opportunity now to really be doing the things I've been talking about for years. Like, I always just was like, oh, I just want to do celebrities every day.
Mhm.
And now I literally have celebrities texting me, their managers calling me to do their hair.
Mhm.
You know, I'm like, wow, like, I'm literally doing
You're
celebrities
you're
every
literally
day.
living your dream. I meet
So,
stylists, I've met some young stylists and so forth, and I always share your pictures, and I was like, this is my sister. Even when I tell my students who I see trying to sneak hairstyles in and do stuff while they're supposed to be doing their work, and I even make the connection with how much science you have to learn in cosmetology too, because I teach science.
definitely.
But what would you say too? Because it's a lot of people, who will watch this video too. I know business owners who are starting young. What advice would you give them for trying to get into the field that you're in now? What is their blueprint? Because earlier you talked about following a blueprint and having mentors. What would be that advice
Definitely.
you would give them?
So I guess with any area, like if you want to be great, you just need to like definitely follow people that you admire or you see that's doing the things that you want to do, like on a whole nother level. Um, I would say education, you gotta be a trend setter and you gotta try different things. Like it was times when, when these lace front wigs came out, all these girls wearing them and stuff. I couldn't turn my face down. I'm like, oh, that's another avenue. So I had to put me one on to see how the wear and tear.
Mhm.
So I feel like you gotta dive all in to whatever that field that you are in. Like learn from people that's doing what you want to do, that's doing it on a whole nother level. Um, take classes, and ask questions,
Okay.
and then definitely mentors, and then trying out new things in your city. Like I feel like I did all the fashion shows, all the photo shoots,
Mhm.
all the local events that would come. Um, I would build relationships with photographers so I can build up my portfolio. I would build relationships with directors and producers and artists, letting them know like who I am, what I do, and like just learning. It's like an ongoing learning experience because you never know what somebody is going to ask you to do. So you don't want to just have yourself in this one box, like, oh, only do this texture, only do this. Like I'm a hairstylist and a makeup artist. And it's been times where I had to help my artists get dressed.
Mhm.
So, you want to be, it's like I'm like a walking um salon, day spa, you know what I mean? So you want to be able to do every service that you offer on your own, because sometimes you don't always have a team. So you have to be capable of doing each thing.
Mhm.
And I learned that, like, even if it was like, oh, I don't really do drip braids, but I had to learn braids because when you work on set or something, they need braids or they need them. I might be the only black girl there that's going to be able to do all the black people. And
Mhm.
don't be easily offended and be open to talk about different textures of hair, with different races of people. It's just hair. People are curious, so you have to really be open and receptive. And yeah, I would just say don't give up. Do everybody hair around you.
Mhm.
Make sure you letting people know about who you are. Do all your family members' hair. They'll let you do your hair, do that hair. That'd be your first, all
I
my
know
first
I've been a
models.
tester.
Oh, all my first models was my sister, my mother, my girlfriends, my boyfriend's sisters, aunts, cousins, everybody. So
Mhm.
it has been a wonderful ride being a hairstylist. Oh my gosh, I have had such a great career thus far. I feel like I've done touched every area. I taught at hair schools, I taught at platform styling, I've done photo shoots, fashion shows, music videos,
Yeah,
did bodies.
you're
I
doing.
done did worked in Target selling dryers, being a brand ambassador. So if you need to be well rounded and you have to be able to do everything because you want all that money. You don't want to exclude nobody. You know what I mean? You don't want to make nobody feel like, oh no, I can't do it now. Nah,
Yeah.
nah, nah. So you can't say you're a super stylist or a master stylist if you can't do everybody. You
Mhm.
put yourself in this box and limit how much money you can make when you're like, oh no, I just do this. Oh no,
Mhm.
I just do this. I just do that. So that's why I'm like a super stylist because I do hair, makeup. I can help you get dressed.
Mhm.
I can do your nails. I can give
Yeah.
you a haircut. I can shave you. I can give you a facial. I can give you a massage. Like I'm just a walking day spa.
Yeah, and it seems like what you're saying to the people who are starting out is that it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. That it takes time for you to manifest your dream, and it's not something that you like. I did. You thinking it's going to pay off in just a year. So all of these things, from the moment that you first began with the story and the vision that you had in third grade, it took it took this time for you to learn all the different things to become the super stylist. So it
Mhm.
sounds like you're telling those people that, it's going to happen for them.
Yeah, and another thing is like really like I did at a young when I first went to hair school, I remember we had to do this project and you had to write out like what you want to be, what you want to do. And I remember this was like 2000 and I wrote about having a mobile glam business, my company Innovations Inc., right? That's doing hair, makeup, wardrobe styling,
Mhm.
and offering it to like the business professionals, entertainment industry, stuff like that. And that was like 2000. I remember writing that, for my school paper. And then a friend of mine was like this producer, broadcast engineer, and he read it and was like, wow, this is really good. I'm gonna give this to you, get this back to you when you make your first million. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. So, but just when I look back at it, like I always go back to my journal entries,
Mhm.
and I remember writing out, I remember daddy had me write out every single detail, remember, because you revised it. And I
Mhm.
mean, all of my notes from down to the kind of chairs I wanted in the salon, like the decorations that I wanted, the tables that I wanted, everything that I wanted, I end up
And you got
ultimately
it.
having. It
Mine
all
was the
ended up
problem, and
coming.
you got everything that you wanted, and even more when you think about it. He had
Yes,
to prepare those
definitely.
things, and then it came. It
Yes.
came through some
So
tragedy, but it came, and it's even. And Daddy would be even more proud of you. He would be so excited for you, TD. I know he would be so happy. Well, I want to thank you for giving me this time to interview you, before I choose me, because my story is for every person. It's for men and it's for females, but it's a story I think that's relatable to all of us. And I know that you're going to love it once you see it. And I know that hearing about Daddy within the book is going to definitely hit home to you and our family. And I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, and I love you, and I think,
uh,
and I know that
I
Daddy.
love you too. And we're so proud of you. You're out here encouraging women, uplifting people, motivating us to live our best life and don't settle, inspiring many. So big ups to you for your new platform. I can't wait till your book come out because we're gonna be in the Oprah's book club with this one shouted. So
I'm hoping
I can't
that would
wait.
be my
So
dream.
I'm
That's
so
one of the
excited.
dreams Daddy said too. Was Oprah? I was like, one of the shows he said I could watch was Oprah Winfrey and whatever. And he said every black girl needs to watch Oprah because she's a mentor in disguise.
Yes, yes. One day we'll have that family Super Soul Sunday with Oprah.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and definitely watch this for those who are trying to be business entrepreneurs, who are manifesting their dreams. They don't never want to give up. If you think, if you're worried that your children are going to prevent you from being able to get what you want done, and you're scared, it's not going to happen. You're going to be able to get it. That things you never dreamed of can happen. You got to find a mentor. You got to be consistent. You got to stay doing it, and you got to never give up.
Don't give up. Stay positive. Stay encouraged each day.
Each day. So I choose me, and I want you to choose me too. Okay,
I
thank
choose you.
you. Okay.